Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia and thank you so much for being here. In today's reading vlog, we are reading The Haunting of Brynn Wilder by Wendy Webb. This came out in November of 2020, so it's a couple years old. It has, though, over 50,000 reviews on Amazon and Goodreads, and it has between a 3.9 and a 4.3 star rating. So it seems like it's going to be a promising book, but I swear I've never heard anyone talk about this. And over 50,000 reviews is a lot. And I just happened to find this when I was trying to look up, what was I looking at? Gothic romances. And this is, because Amazon will have the rankings. So the top 3 categories that this is listed in is number 1, a ghost thriller, number 2, a paranormal ghost romance, and then number 3, a Gothic romance. So I can't wait. It's just under 300 pages. It says it's 289. This is free on Kindle Unlimited if you are reading this in the States. And also, happy April 2024. That's when I am reading this, about 3.5 years after it has been published. The synopsis is kind of interesting because, again, this is listed either as a ghost thriller or a paranormal ghost romance / Gothic romance. So is it a thriller? Is it a romance? In the synopsis, it says it's a mystery. So there's this girl, Brynn Wilder. She is escaping something, and she goes and seeks refuge at this boarding house off of Lake Superior, and she lives there for the summer. And while she's there, she meets her fellow lodgers, who are all interesting in their own regard. There's Luann. She's the owner of the inn or this lodge, and I guess she's very eccentric. And then there's this frail woman named Alice who is being taken care of by a married couple that has their own heartbreaking story. And then there's someone named Dominic who apparently is unsettlingly handsome and covered head to toe in mesmerizing tattoos. Well, at this boarding house / inn, down the hall, there is a room that has been boarded up, shuttered off. And I guess there are luring whispers in the night that wake Brynn up. She's also having bad dreams too, so that also wakes her up. But they keep leading her to the shuttered off room, and apparently someone died there. So we don't know the mystery behind that. And then with Dominic, I guess death follows him everywhere that he goes. So he might have had something to do with that death. And then on top of that, Alice seems to know way too much information about everybody staying at that lodge. I mean, she knows info about Brynn that no one should know. So then there's the mystery with Alice. And then with Dominic, also back to him, I guess he and Brynn sort of strike up a romance, but since death follows Dominic everywhere that he goes, I guess the looming presence behind him is that he might be the reason that that person died in that boarded up room. I don't know. Let's just see where this takes us. Okay, I just read the prologue and I couldn't tell you what I just read. I don't know. That was really confusing. I'm assuming it's Brynn speaking to us, the reader, in the prologue. I'm not sure, but she's saying everyone is haunted by something, and then she's talking about how you can be haunted and how hers are more real life hauntings. She's saying that, there's a low moan coming from the corner of a darkened room, or a glimpse of a shape, or a tangible counter with something a passer through. And she's saying my haunting is like that. It's strange, it's magical, it's unexplainable. And then she starts thinking about memories of her life and of someone, a he, a man, a boy, I don't know how old Brynn is, but she's thinking of someone and she can still taste him on her lips. I don't know what I just read. And she says, and then it comes back to me, and I'll let it come. God help me, I will let it come. What? Is Brynn dead? I don't know if I'm spoiling the book, but is she dead? It's called The Haunting of Brynn Wilder, but is she doing the haunting while also being haunted? Okay, I'm texting the girls that are in my book club. So I live overseas in Japan, and then two of the girls live in Texas and one lives in California. And so we decided to read this for our book club pick for April. And I told them, I said, I'm so confused by the prologue. And one of them just said, same. I just started it. I'm just as confused as you are. But then one of the other girls has finished it. And she says, no, it's really cute. It's a sweet mystery thriller. And then she said, it'll all make sense at the end. Books like that they're tricky. They're hard to get through because it seems like I'm about to be so confused until the very end when all the pieces click into place. And then I'll like it. But I don't know. We'll just see. I think Brynn is alive, though, because she's currently crossing state lines. She is in Minneapolis, which is in Minnesota, and she's, I guess, driving to Michigan or Wisconsin. It doesn't say. I know she's driving to one of the Great Lakes, and so that could be one of those two states. We'll see. But I don't know. I guess she's alive right now, and she's just thinking about how she needs a reset and what she's going to do over the summer. And I guess she's already booked her stay at this inn or this boarding house. And she's just talking about the next 3 months she's going to go kayaking and just find lots of peace, be with the native people, oh my gosh. But I don't know, let's just continue on. We'll just keep trekking through. So she's had a nightmarish 3 years is how it worded it. And she is coming to this small town called Wharton through her friend Kate. So Kate's family, I guess for generations and generations, have owned this inn. It's called Harrison's House, and it's a stunning Victorian masterpiece on the hill overlooking the water. Okay, we're setting the scene. Definitely Gothic. This is definitely giving me some Gothic vibes. Okay, just kidding. That's not where she's staying. She's not staying at Harrison's house. It's out of her budget. I guess it's extremely expensive. She's staying at a place called Luann's, which, remember at the beginning I said Luann was the eccentric owner of this inn or this boarding house. So Luann's is a century-old restaurant that had been a boarding house back in the day with upstairs rooms rented by the week, the month, or the summer. Okay. Luann's. That's where we're staying. Okay, y'all might keep seeing this. It holds more than your Kindle. It can hold your iPad as well. And I have a huge iPad, so it's still set up from that, but I've got my Kindle sitting on it. But that's what that is, if y'all are seeing that in any of my clips. So Brynn, I think Brynn can feel things. I don't want to say she's a clairvoyant, but she's being shown by Luann to her room. Her digs for the summer is how Luann put it. Luann's cool. She's a 75-year-old, just kind of kooky lady. She's wearing her cheetah leggings and she's got lots of beaded necklaces on, and I really like her. She calls her honey and darling. So she's showing Brynn where she's staying, and as they walk down the hallway after they get up the stairs, they're walking down the hall and Brynn feels a sensation go through her. How did she say it? As we made our way down the hall, I shivered just a little. And then she gets into her room and she's looking at it and she really likes it. The walls are yellow and she's got these big windows and, lots of sunlight coming through. And then, okay, this place was built in the 1800s. And so Brynn is thinking a century of souls inhabiting a place will leave an imprint that lingers longer after they're gone. And it lingered here. Not in a bad way. It felt well lived in. So she feels, I guess, past people. So I wonder if that's going to have anything to do with her feeling the presence that's leading her to the room that is supposedly boarded up. We have not gotten to that part. We haven't even read anything about that room. That was just from the synopsis. But, okay, so this is how Brynn is. We have met a couple of characters. So in the synopsis, it said that there was a married couple who have, I guess, their own problems, and they're taking care of a frail woman named Alice. We have not met Alice, but we met a married couple, so that might be them. They're two husbands, Gil and Jason, and they've been going to this boarding house for 5 or 6 years in a row now, every summer. One, I guess, dabbles in rental properties, so he just is kind of off work all the time because he has a maintenance guy to take care of, any issues. And then his husband is a high school teacher, so they get the summers off for sure. And then Brynn, she goes to take a shower. And since it's a boarding house, it's very dorm room style where you don't have your own bathroom. They're all kind of sharing them. There's 2 showers and then a bathtub, and I guess they're in 3 different rooms. Well, Brynn is in the shower, and something or someone keeps banging on the wall, and she's thinking, is that a pipe? No, that can't be. Someone's banging on the wall. So she's trying to rush, thinking, why? I mean, there's another shower available, and there's also the bathtub. So then she finishes up, she goes outside, like she opens the door to step into the hallway to go back to her room, and there's a man standing there in a robe about 6 feet tall and covered in tattoos. She can see them peeking out of his robe. So I'm guessing that's Dominic. They don't exchange names, but Dominic is staring at her and he says, did you hear that? Did you hear that banging? And she says, yeah. And he goes, you look like you've seen a ghost. And it's because she was scared and she was rushing. And he just says, well, you know what they say about this place. And she says, no, actually, I don't, because I've never stayed here before. And he says, well, this place is haunted. Okay, so here we go. Here's the beginning of it. Also, I learned that Brynn is a college professor. I still don't know her age, but she's a college professor. Not sure what she teaches. She was on sabbatical. So she was on paid leave. That's interesting. And you normally don't get sabbatical until you've been there for 7 years. So Brynn might be older. I don't know why I thought she was super young, but maybe she's older. Oh, and she cries a lot. Brynn she's just always getting teary-eyed. She was crying in her room. Then she met Jason and Gil, and they had a glass of wine, and she got teary-eyed again when they were asking her, you know, what she's doing here for the summer. And then when she was taking a shower, she was crying a lot right before the banging started. So there's something going on with Brynn, but we've met quite a few of the characters. I just read about 20 pages of I don't know what. So Brynn, she's in her room. She's got the door closed. She falls asleep. And then she hears a female voice. And how did she describe it? She said it sounded like she was far away and talking through tissue paper. I don't know. It was very weird. But they were saying, hello? Hello, is anyone there? Hello, could you please just let me in? And Brynn, she stands up. She's looking around the room. Her closet door is locked, and so she doesn't think anyone's in her closet. And then she looks at the door of her bedroom that leads out into the hallway, and that's where she's hearing it. Hello? Is anyone in there? Can you hear me? Could you please just let me in? And then her doorknob starts turning to the left, to the right. Someone was trying to get into her room. I would be terrified. And I don't know what year we're in. Does this girl have a cell phone? No idea. She doesn't call anybody. She just stands there frozen. I would be freaking out. Yeah, I don't know what I would do either. Well, then she hears like a scuffle going on in the hallway. She hears people and she's thinking, is that Jason? Is it Gil? I don't know. She's not sure. But then the voice floats away and she doesn't hear it anymore. And then no one's trying to get into her room anymore. So then she passes out, and then we go into 15 pages of a dream sequence. It was so strange, and I don't really like reading about people's dreams because it just doesn't matter, and it was putting me to sleep, to be honest with you. I'm about to go make some hot black tea just to try and wake up as I yawn. But in the dream sequence, she's dreaming of herself. She sees herself and her childhood friend Jane, and they're running around. And then all of a sudden she's at a picnic, I don't know, at someone's house in the neighborhood, her childhood home neighborhood. And her parents are there, and she's talking to her mom and her dad. And then all of a sudden she's back inside her childhood home, and her grandmother, who has passed away, her Gram is sitting on the couch. And then Gram starts to have a stroke, and they have to take her to the hospital. And Gram isn't on any medicine, and the nurse is just thinking, wow, oh my gosh, how is this 88-year-old woman not on any medicine? And I guess Gram made it to 91 before she passed away. And then Brynn wakes up, and she's got tears going down her face. What did I just read? And why? All right, ignore the air fryer that I haven't put away in a while. But making some hot tea right now just so I can stay awake. I really hope this book isn't boring. I don't know, my friend described it as sweet. She said it's a sweet mystery thriller. What does that mean? Is it gonna be like charming, but also kind of boring? I don't know. Oh, well, hi. Well, do you want a treat? Okay, I'm gonna get you a treat. And then also over here, I'm gonna make a shot of espresso in my Deja Brew. Okay. Let's get my cat a treat. You want a treat? All right, intermission. Japan. We get these for free at our door all the time here on base. Okay, well, here. Scatter them out. Oh, I'm so excited to take this shot. Okay, I'm back at my kitchen table and I'm just gonna prop my Kindle up here and read it. And then I've got some black tea and then my shot of espresso. So let's just continue. Y'all, I'm only on page 33. I'm only 12% into this book. This is not good that the book is putting me to sleep. I think I'm gonna shoot this. I was gonna sip on it, my espresso, but I think I'm just gonna shoot it and then just sip on my black tea while I'm reading. This isn't good. This vlog is not starting off well. Okay, I moved into the office area after spending an hour and a half doing taxes. That'll put you to sleep. And now I ate this hot and sour soup from 7-Eleven. Everything's in Japanese, but it's a subsidiary of 7-Eleven is where I got it. Yorkmart, wherever. But I'm having that, and then I'm just reading the book. So Brynn has woken up the next morning. She's feeling better after everything that happened the night before. The weird ghost person trying to get into her room, and then the weird childhood dream. And now she's walked out of her room and she wants to go downstairs because downstairs is a restaurant. Upstairs is where all the rooms are. And she sees Dominic out on the balcony and he sees her and he says, "Hey, good morning. Why don't you join me? I have too much coffee." And he's got a French press. And so she's joining him on the balcony. Okay, I don't know. My friend said this is a mystery thriller, but Amazon also classified it as a romance. So I want to see what goes on between Brynn and Dominic. Okay, hold on. I just remembered something. Isn't there a frail woman named Alice that's supposed to be there? And she's being taken care of by a married couple that has problems or issues? That's what the synopsis said. And we have yet to meet her. So that's probably who showed up in the middle of the night. Because her and Dominic, they're on the balcony, they're talking, and he's just saying, oh, it's a new place, it's a new environment. You got to get used to the creaks and the groans and, the sounds of just staying somewhere you've never been before. And she asked him straight up, did you hear a woman last night? There was a woman at my door trying to get in. And he just says, no, but screw that. That's terrifying. And then I remembered there's another character named Alice that we're supposed to meet. So, okay, maybe there's not any hauntings yet. Although we still haven't figured out who was banging on the wall while she was in the shower. But I think the creepy voice at the door trying to get in, I think that was Alice. Okay, this book is very emotional. And everybody just keeps crying for various reasons. I mean, they're all warranted. There's just so much crying in this book. We've got Brynn, who she's always crying about her family and about her mom. And then we met a character named Rebecca. She's the daughter of Jason. So Jason and Gil are husbands. I don't know what year we're in, but Jason, back in the day, you weren't allowed to be gay. That just wasn't a thing. If you were gay, you had to keep it under wraps. And so Jason married his high school sweetheart, Alice. We've met Alice. It was Alice that was at the door. So Jason and Alice got married, and they were together, I guess, over 30 years. They had 2 kids, and then finally the kids grew up, moved out, and then I guess the time came where he was allowed to come out. So he came out to Alice. Alice said she always kind of secretly knew that he was gay. And then Jason went on to marry Gil. Well, now Alice is very sick. She's very sick. This is his ex-wife, and now she's going to come live with Jason and Gil. She has dementia though, and she's so loopy. She's all over the place. She doesn't know what's going on. She keeps trying to pay with things with her room key card. And the daughter of Jason and Alice, I keep mixing up Jason and Gil, but the daughter of Jason and Alice, her name is Rebecca. And Brynn met Rebecca, and Rebecca was just crying. Brynn just happened to walk by Jason and Gil's room because, they all live at this boarding house, so you just see everyone all the time. The door was open. Brynn walked by. Rebecca's sitting in there, and she said, "Oh, you must be one of the lodgers. I need to talk to you." And then she just starts crying and saying that her mom, Alice, is going to come live with Jason and Gil. And it was very random. She was just bawling her eyes out to a complete stranger, to Brynn. And now Brynn is downstairs in the restaurant with Jason, and Jason's crying to her while Gil is upstairs paying bills while Alice takes a nap. And everybody is crying. It's just, okay, this is a lot. And then there was something else that I was gonna tell y'all. I remember what I was gonna say. Jason and Alice, they have 2 daughters, Rebecca and Jane. Remember I mentioned to Jane earlier when Brynn was having her weird childhood dream? It didn't seem like it was a nightmare. It just seemed like it was a dream. But she was with her friend Jane, and they were playing in the neighborhood. And now all of a sudden, Jason is saying that he and Alice have 2 girls named Rebecca and Jane. And Brynn hasn't made any distinction between that. So maybe it's a completely different Jane. But really, what are the odds that that's a different Jane? And then also, this was kind of weird, but Brynn recognized Alice. She thought, that looks like the lady from my dream. When did you dream about Alice? Because we have read one dream, and it was very long, but we didn't really meet anybody in that dream. She was with Jane, and then in the dream, she was at someone's barbecue in the neighborhood, a picnic or whatever, and she was with her mom and dad, and then all of a sudden she was back in her childhood living room with her gram. So I don't remember there being an Alice in her dream, but yeah, Brynn thought Alice looked familiar. I don't know, this book is weird. Where are we going with this? Also, we found out about the person that died in the room that's boarded up. So it's boarded up because they don't know if it was a homeless woman or a squatter, but Luann closes the boarding house every winter, and Luann runs off to Hawaii. And then she came back from Hawaii to open it back up for the spring and found that woman's body in room number 5. And so the police came and got her, and I mean, it looked like she had been living there a while, but everyone around town just says there were never any footprints in the snow. We never saw the lights on. So how was this woman getting by? How was she getting around? How was she eating? But this woman passed away, and so now the room is boarded up, and Luann says it's just out of respect. She just doesn't want anyone to stay in that room right now. But I have questions. How did that woman pass away? How old was she? What was the issue? Was there an autopsy? This book is just kind of everywhere. Lots of plots going on. Lots of people crying. Weird dreams. People in dreams that are now in real life. I don't know. It's interesting. I want to tell y'all things, but I don't know if I can. I don't know what's a spoiler and what's not, but it just got so interesting with Alice and with room number 5 and with a book that was found. The title of the book is why that's interesting. And now it's the next morning, and Brynn has woken up, and she's gone back to the area where all of this took place last night, and the door is locked, and she looks and she sees that it's door number 5, which was where she was. So how did she get in there? What's going on with Alice? What's going on? There was another woman in there. There was a chair that was rocking and no one was in it, and then she turned around and turned back. All of a sudden there was someone in it. I want to know what's up with this book, like the book that was in the woman's hand. Okay, now it's getting interesting. What am I on? I'm on page 62. I'm 23% in. Well, we just read some things about what was happening with Brynn's mom at this rehabilitation facility after her mom had gotten out of the hospital. And Brynn is sitting with Alice outside on the deck at the boarding house, and Alice knows some things. How? Alice, how do you know these things? We are learning a little bit more about Dominic's possible past. He might be a person of interest in a case, but the police are not 100% sure if it's Dominic. He just matches the description. We just had a chapter with Dominic and Brynn, and it was so cute. They went out to Lake Superior together, to the beach area, and they were swimming, and now they're leaned up against each other. They're both reading books in the sand, and oh, this is precious. I'm rooting for them. I hope he's not a murderer. Everyone cries in this book. Alice is teary-eyed. Dominic got teary-eyed. It's very emotional. Everyone is so emotional. And then also, Dominic had a wild childhood. His very first memory is something I want to tell y'all, but I mean, it wouldn't be a spoiler to tell y'all, but just read the book to figure out his first memory when he was 4 years old. It is crazy. I don't know how I feel about this book. I like the ghost parts of it, the paranormal parts. I need more of that. They kissed. Dominic and Brynn. They just had their first kiss. Okay, nothing annoys me more when you're trying to get to know someone, when you're possibly dating them, which is kind of what Brynn and Dominic are doing, and he evades every question. I'm sorry, I can't stand that. I would not be able to continue dating someone if that's how they always answered my questions. Oh, well, where did you grow up? Oh, here and then there. Okay. What do you do for a living? Oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. No, absolutely not. That's not mysterious and sexy and alluring. No, that's so frustrating and it's so annoying. How are you supposed to get to know someone? How do I know that I possibly want to be your girlfriend and maybe even your future wife if you don't tell me anything about yourself? No, I would have walked away. I would have already walked away. Go Brynn for continuing. She just keeps trying and trying to ask him different questions, and he's just deflecting. Why am I so annoyed at Dominic right now? So once again, she's still just trying to have conversation with him and get to know him. And she says, okay, so what are you doing here in Wharton? What are you doing here for the summer? Because he's staying at that boarding house for the next 3 months. And he said, I'm here to meet you, Brynn. Ugh, give me a break. Answer some questions. Or more, Brynn, just walk away. Walk away. I'm not shipping this romance anymore. Alice is so creepy sometimes. She tells Dominic and Brynn that she sees the light rejoicing between the two of them, their souls connecting, which that's adorable, that's cute. But then she looks them in the eyes and says, I've asked the dead if they're prepared for me soon because I'm going to meet them. Oh my gosh, remember at the beginning of this vlog, I said, I don't think Brynn is a clairvoyant, but there's things that she can sense, things that she just seems to know. And that word was never used. That just came out of my mouth. It was not in the book. Well, now that Alice is being so creepy and weird, Dominic and Brynn have left. They've left Jason and Gil's suite where Alice lives, and they're in the hallway, and Brynn says, I don't want to say she's a clairvoyant because that sounds dramatic, but I don't really know what else to call it. I love that. I called that, but I called that on Brynn. I did not call that on Alice. Also, I don't know. There's just something, I don't know. It's weird. I'm trying to figure out the connection because Brynn had a brother that passed away and I don't know why. Well, then Alice was looking at a family photo because Alice has dementia, so she doesn't really know what's going on. But Alice and Jason used to be married. They had 2 kids, Rebecca and Jane. Rebecca and Jane now have husbands, and then they have a bunch of kids, so there's a lot of grandkids. And Alice looks at one of the pictures and looks at one of the kids and points at him and says he's gonna get cancer and pass away. So I'm just wondering, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out the paranormal aspects of this and see if Brynn is tied in, because Brynn had a brother that passed away. Maybe Brynn and that brother are actually the children of Rebecca or Jane, because one of those boys is going to pass away, according to Alice. There's also that weird dream from a long time ago where Brynn and her friend Jane were just running around town, and then now Jason and Alice have daughters named Rebecca and Jane. That hasn't been brought up again. I'm just trying to make this come full circle, because I still don't know what I'm reading or where we're going with this. Oh, and also at one point Alice looked at Brynn and said, "Oh, I remember you. You're the lady from room 5." But remember, the lady from room 5 is the one that died. There is so much crying in this book. Now Gil is crying. They've all cried. Who am I missing? Luann. Luann hasn't cried yet. Let's see if we get to her. But how is everybody crying so much? I think this book is taking place, I mean, it's pretty slow. I feel like it's only been a few days, maybe a week. Maybe she's been here for a week. She's here for 3 months, but I think it's only been a few days since she arrived, and everybody is crying. Why? Why? I think, okay, so Brynn is going back to Dominic's room to watch a movie. Okay, we all know what that means. But why is she describing the color of everything as the color of eggplant? Which we all know is, a deep dark purple. But she just says the bed was covered with an eggplant colored down comforter and pillows in eggplants and greens and whites lining the headboard. Why? Why do you have to call it like that? Eggplant? No. Okay, it says it right here. Because she just woke up from another nightmare and Dominic is next to her snoring, and she's so thankful that he's there because she had a dream about them and what happened to him. And she just says, it's crazy because we're still just getting to know each other. We've only spent a few days together. This is happening so fast. I'm on page 159. I'm 58% in. Hey guys, it is the next day. Y'all, I read so much yesterday. I read 165 pages. I got to 60% of this book, so 40% left. I'm gonna see if I can finish it today. I should be able to. I think when I left off with talking to y'all, Brynn was gonna have a little Netflix and chill night with Dominic. But remember, they live in that boarding house, so they have neighbors that are all just right next door. It's like one big hotel. And so of course, the next morning, Dominic has already left. He had to go run some errands. He's so mysterious, annoyingly. And Brynn thinks, okay, let me just sneak out of his room and run into mine. Well, of course, she gets into the hallway and Jason is standing there and he says, oh, what do we have here? So that's going to get around town that her and Dominic stayed the night together. But let's just read some more and see where we go. I'm really into the paranormal parts of this book. Y'all, stuff keeps happening in her dreams. I don't know what all I can tell y'all and what I can't, but her dreams are so lifelike, and sometimes she doesn't even know she's in a dream. She'll think that she's woken up and then horrific things happen and then she wakes up again. And so even as the reader, it's so good. I'm not into the romantic aspects of this book, but I'm very into what is happening in room 5. I stopped filling y'all in every time someone cried or semi-cried, especially Brynn, because Brynn cries a lot. But y'all, I want to say it's happened 5 or 6 more times since the last time I brought it up to you. And then even right now, tears stung at the back of my eyes. This book is... I never want to diss an author's writing, but she's trying to, I guess, bring out emotion. It's just forced emotion. It's very fake. I don't like it. It's too much. Like, she's trying too hard to show angst and tension and sorrow and longing, and it's coming off very forced, and I don't like it. Ooh, okay. Brynn has another brother. His name's Jeff. And Jeff and their dad are somewhere in England, I think, touring around, having fun, whatever. And they're staying at this cottage. And this cottage is interesting. The name is quite something. I don't want to say. And Brynn thinks that she has seen this cottage in one of her nightmares/dreams. So she's asking her brother to ask the owner, and get some more information about this cottage. But I'm intrigued even more. I just love the mystery parts of this book. In case y'all wanted to know Brynn's age, because I've wanted to know. I mean, this helps me get inside the main character's head. All I know is that she dated someone for 20 years and he just wasn't the one, and so they broke up. And I thought, okay, 20 years, that's a long time. How old are you? And then we know she's a college professor. And then she was talking about, starting over midlife. Well, now she's throwing up in the bathroom, and she looks at Dominic and said, and this is not for pregnancy reasons, if that's where your mind just went, she wants to go see what's in room number 5. She wants Luann, the owner of the boarding house, to open up room number 5 so that she can stop having these crazy vivid nightmares or dreams. And as Luann's going to unlock the door, Brynn has to puke, and so she runs to her bathroom, and she just looks at Dominic and says, I haven't thrown up since college. So if you're in college, typically from 18 to 22 for your bachelor's, depending on if you get your master's or your doctorate. I know she doesn't have her doctorate. She has her master's right now. She's an adjunct professor. So maybe she's 42 to 45 is what I'm thinking. And again, she started talking about her midlife. So maybe she's in her early 40s. I just wanted to tell y'all that in case y'all wanted to know, because we're 65% in and I'm just now kind of figuring out her age. That would have been nice to know before we started this book. This book is making me roll my eyes. So Brynn has been teary-eyed 3 more times since I've talked to y'all, and now Dominic is wiping away a tear in his eye. Why is everyone always crying in this book? I don't get it. It's too much. This is too much. You're forcing emotion at this point on the reader, and it's not good. Now Gil is crying. I'm over it. I don't want to read this book anymore. Everyone's always crying. I'm gonna cry. I'm thinking 3 stars. I'm not even done. What am I at right now? Oh, I just changed the page. My bad. 209. I'm 75% in. Okay, there's a relationship in this book that was hidden to us until after the 80% mark. I had no idea these two were together, and then it just got thrown at us. Well, that's cute, because I still don't really ship Brynn and Dominic. But these two, that was so precious to read about. Where is this book going? I don't know where we're headed. We're 90% in. We're on chapter 36, and nothing's happening. They went to a dinner party, and then they left. It was a really long chapter about a dinner party. 90%. What are we doing? The book is ending soon. Brynn moved in to Dominic's room. You would think they were moving into one another's apartment. No, you're staying at an inn. Everyone has their own room. And now you can't waste time. There's no time like the present. We have to appreciate the now. So she moves out of her room and moves into his. We're at 95%. That's not the epilogue. We're still reading the book. I still don't know what's happening. We had a couple of week time jump, so maybe they've been together a month at this point. Which I don't mind moving in with each other after a month. That's not the issue. My husband and I moved very quickly. We got married after 6.5 months. But just the way that it's worded, it's just so corny. When we got back to Luann's, because remember, that's the owner of the inn. When we got back to Luann's, I moved into his room, freeing up my room for rental, and we got down to business of living and loving, appreciating every moment together. it's just so corny. And where are we going? What is happening? What happened to the paranormal stuff? What happened to what was going on with the cottage that her brother had sent her photos of, where he and the dad are staying? What? I have so many questions, and we're on page 263, and isn't this 280 something pages? The book is about to be over. What did I just read? I have already returned it to Kindle Unlimited. I gave it 3 stars. I don't know what to say. It was interesting. It wrapped up some of my questions. What? Well, that was a book. I don't know. It was 3 stars. Parts of it were cool. Well, whatever. 3 stars. I think that's my 4th book that I've read in April. Yay. Thank y'all so much for coming on this journey with me. And I will see y'all in the next reading vlog. Bye.